What is up, everyone? StonePost34 back with part 2. I've never done a part 2. I'm sorry. It just that video got really long, and there's so much more to tell, and it's not really good stuff. It's kind of embarrassing that my parents did the crap that they did, but they did it, and I'll tell you how it is today, where we're at today with it all. So anyway, where I left off is basically met with my parents. They said they're not coming to my wedding, and they didn't. They did not show up to my wedding. They were not there. And here's where it gets really crappy. So my brother actually got married a few months before I did. And it was his second marriage, believe it or not. And he's on his third right now, which is okay. Anyway, so I had the list of all the family members. And I had their addresses because I called my brother. I'm like, dude, Mom's not going to give me the list. Can you give it to me? He's like, yeah, no problem. So he gives it to me. So I sent out all these invitations to my side of the family. And we started getting RSVPs, got a few gifts, some regrets. They start flowing in, and we're about, a month, 2 months out. Probably a month out at this point. And then I start getting, from some of the RSVPs, I start getting regrets. Oh, something came up, this and that. Long story short, I didn't need to bore you with the details, but from probably the 60 invites that went out on my side of the family, one person showed up to my wedding from my side of the family. That was my brother. My two sisters didn't show up. Obviously, my parents didn't show up. And I don't want to know what my parents wound up saying to all of my family members that kept them from coming to my wedding. I was unbelievably upset about it. And the only thing I can say is my in-laws are so incredible that it really didn't even matter. I mean, that really was not a big deal. I mean, it hurt more than anything. So anyway, they did not show up, and I saw my parents at my brother's wedding, and obviously they were upset, and it got really crappy, some of the stuff they did. So my Uncle Mike comes in from Florida and hangs out with us, and my mom finds out and is just so mad at my Uncle Mike that she can't even talk to him, and they get in a huge fight. And my Uncle Mike's just like, you're being so ridiculous. This is your son. And for whatever reason, you've taken it upon yourself to destroy his life. I mean, we're not talking like, okay, I'm going to disown you. We're talking like aggressive destruction of friendships and family. I mean, that's the part that really sucked. I mean, it really did. And so anyway, we get all past that. My wife and I are pregnant within the first year. And I let my parents know. In fact, we sent them Christmas cards, Christmas gifts for the first 3 years, I think. According to my brother, they sat in the closet and were never open. I don't know. I don't want to know. And we just kind of stopped at that point. We're just like, we've tried, and we're just done trying. I mean, I don't know how you can try any harder than that. So we stopped sending presents. So we got pregnant, had our first daughter. They did not show up. They did not meet my oldest daughter until I think she was 3 when my baby sister got married. She invited us. We showed up because we're bigger than the problems, and we were at the wedding. They were not there for the birth of my second daughter. I mean, we're talking a decade of unbelievable, I would call it vitriol. Now, where are we today? That's probably what you want to know more than anything. And there's there's a myriad of I'm just like, what? You raised me in the church. You raised me to be a Christian. You raised me to love everyone. And you're doing some of the most hateful stuff that anyone's ever done to me in my entire life, and you're my mom, and you're my dad. But where are we today? So this happened about 1.5 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. My sister was getting her 2 daughters baptized. And she called me, and she's like, you and your wife and the girls want to come to the baptism. I said, yeah, absolutely. Well, it's at my parents' church. And they decide, well, we'll have a little potluck afterward and get together. Well, the church got booked, double booked, so that didn't happen. And so my sister's like, we're having it at Mom and Dad's, and I need to ask Mom. I'm like, we're fine. I mean, we're bigger than all this, and we're 10 years past it too. And so my sister says to my mom, Greg and the girls were invited, and she goes, well, they can come over to the house. They're always invited over here. And my sister's jaw dropped to the floor. She's like, what? She goes, I've never told them they couldn't come over here. Literally, I mean, we've never been invited. So I guess we should have just showed up one day. And so we show up. I walk in. I give my mom a hug. I haven't hugged my mom in 10 years, and she breaks down. She just starts crying. I think it was her way of. My mom could never admit that she was wrong or whatever, and maybe I'm the same way. And my dad came up, I hugged him, and he didn't cry. I don't think he cries. And, you know, then we played a few board games. We got together, you know, the next, I think it was Mother's Day, whatever the next major holiday was, we were invited over, all sorts of stuff like that. It's like nothing ever happened. In fact, I worked today. Today's Saturday. I called my mom, and they're doing a remodel, and she just had some questions on, you know, value and what some things would do. And, you know, it's like nothing ever happened. And, you know, we've done the last 2 or 3, well, 2 Christmases with them. That first Christmas back was the weirdest one because I think they felt the guilt and the guilt of whatever they did. I don't know, and like I said, I don't want to know. But they bought us so much junk. I mean, I don't want to say junk. I bet they spent $400 a person, like $1,600 on my family for Christmas, which is ridiculous. I don't spend that much on the entire Christmas for everybody. And I think they were feeling guilty. And, you know, my wife just had her birthday in January. My mom called. She's like, we really want to do something special for my wife. And I'm like, great. She's like, we'll come over. And I mean, they go all out. They do this like 5-course dinner, and I can't even eat that much. And, you know, they bought her like these killer, like her birthstone with diamond earrings and necklace. So, I mean, they're like way overboard now. It's like almost like, okay, guys, we're okay. You don't have to like overcompensate. Nothing was ever said. Because I like to joke around, I've made a few jokes about, you know, not being part of the family, or like, well, I'm helping load the dishwasher. I'm like, well, how would I, or unload the dishwasher, how would I know where this goes? I haven't lived here. I've been here for 10 years. And they don't laugh, but I think it's funny. So anyway, guys, that is the follow-up to being disowned for 10 years. And I don't know. Everything's good now in my world, but it sucked. And the part that sucked mostly was because it hurt my wife and it hurt my daughters. So take care as always. This is Stonepost 34.